Hey, what's up, everyone? My name's Kodo, and I'm here to analyze TSM in their first two games of the NA LCS of 2016. If you don't know, TSM is supposed to be a super team this year, but didn't really show up all that well in week one, and I kind of just wanted to walk you guys through a couple reasons as to why. We don't really have time to go over every play and mistake made, but I was hoping we can get some of the big ones out of the way, so let's get to it. TSM drafted pretty well overall, much better in Game 2 than in Game 1. Two things I'd like to point out in Game 1 is first, why was Lulu not banned or picked? Lulu is easily one of, if not the strongest competitive picks, and has been picked and banned in almost every single game in Korea since the Coup Tigers started the Juggernaut comp. Because of her insane utility and ability to save a carry on the fly, Lulu should almost always be first picked and always second picked if available. Second, Lissandra in this meta is taken mid as a targeted hard CC roamer and not as a flex pick like in previous patches. TSM should have had that foresight and hid their AD carry pick until later in the draft. This is a moot point though, because for one reason or another they didn't choose Lulu, and that by itself warrants a loss out of sheer laziness. First, let's start with the lane swap. After a good red steal by Sven and Hanser, Mundo goes top. He shared little experience and is just hitting level 2 when he walks into a 1v2 lane. Aside from poor shot calling, Sven didn't ward the river entrance to blue and didn't pay attention to the wolf buff ping, which allowed Rek'Sai to sneak in and call for a 4-man dive. Honestly, this is just standard jungle pathing for fast push lanes and should have been foreseen when they called for the red buff steal in the first place. Next, let's look at the failed gank on Jax. CLG had an amazing call to counter gank top since Bjerg had just backed at level 5 and Lissandra just hit 6. TSM should have known that Liss was about to hit 6 and had all summoner spells available. Additionally, a great roam from Bard stunned TF'd out of his ultimate, though he likely would have died anyway. After this point, Jax becomes a monster that TSM has a hard time dealing with the rest of the game and always has to expend multiple resources at a time to deal with. The next issue was not properly dealing with the bot lane split pushing. As you can see, Kalista solo pushed an outer bot tower from 100% health, even with the Mundo TP available. In the next clip, Lissandra, albeit with Baron, solo pushes inner bot while TSM sent 2 top to deal with Jax, and Tristan Alistar danced mid without getting anything. The new meta is to send your split pusher bot late game, because it provides the best map pressure and Baron control, being the geographically furthest location from Baron. TSM gave over 2 bot towers early, which made it so that they had no margin for error for dealing with the Jax split push in the late game. Combine that with the double TP from both Jax and Lissandra, it was absolutely imperative that TSM was on top of their cooldown management to retain global threat and to make sure they could teamfight with 5 members at a moment's notice. The last clip from this game comes from the second last team fight, which I think really puts the nail in the coffin for TSM. I chose this because after they lose it, they give up both 4th Dragon and their mid inhibitor for it, forcing them into a Desperation Baron a couple minutes later, hoping to out-rotate the Lissandra once again split pushing bot. In this fight, Alistar engages onto the Kalista to knock her into the team, but doesn't identify the Lissandra was zoning both of his carries out and needed to be dealt with first. Mundo then TPs in, but has a suboptimal teleport that puts him behind his backline. On their retreat, and after Rek'Sai and Alistar fall, spam pings were thrown into the river bush where Jax was waiting, but Triss misjudges the flash and jump distance and gets caught by the stun. About 30 seconds after this clip, Jax catches Mundo farming in the mid lane. Why he was there, I'm not quite sure, but after he died, CLG pushed down mid with their numbers advantage. The second game of the week was against Liquid, who had been playing very, very well this week in both their games. The first 2 clips are of Elise ganking and catching bot lane. In the first, Elise ganks bot and then repeat ganks about 30 seconds later. Very smart, but TSM were far too out of position without any vision, and they should have expected the gank with the Alistar being overly aggressive. Additionally, Ezreal stays for far too long trying to defend his tower 1v3 and gets caught by the Elise cocoon, nearly dying for it and forcing his flash to be blown. Though not important now, it's going to be important in about 4 minutes when Elise comes to gank bot again when she knows that his flash is down. Not so sure about that dive, guys. And here we are 4 minutes later with Elise heading down bot. Not only does she walk over a ward in both her jungle and in Tribush, but Bard ulting the tower ruined all hopes of counter engage. excellent use of Nar's TP to secure the Bard kill, and great capitalization of Ezreal's lack of flash from the first clip. This said, this gank should have been avoided entirely. Elise was spotted out at blue, but Ori walking out of lane to secure blue should have solidified Elise was bot and probably looking for a gank. I really want to give credit to TSM on how well they played some of these fights, especially in the late game by Doublelift and Beard. Despite being behind early, they out-rotated and picked up every dragon leading up to the 5th. In this clip, right before their 4th drag, Syndra gets caught, but a clutch Flash Devour saves the fight, and likely the game. After kiting back, Nard looks for a huge ult on TSM, but gets denied by a fantastic unburrow from Rek'Sai. To finish this playoff, Nard just about lands a game-changing ult on Ezreal, but at the last second, Ezreal takes a single step back to avoid both it and the incoming Ori burst. After the pick on Phoenix, they rotate to 4th drag. With this play, they not only put the 5th dragon timer on Team Liquid, but they save themselves from having their base destroyed since TSM only had an inhibitor tower remaining in their bot lane. This last fight is controversial, but TSM played it very well, kiting back and using the Syndra to its fullest potential. Finally, after a Bartle the team can engage on, Rek'Sai attempts to flank to chain CC since Alistar's ult is now down. Unfortunately, she uses her Q first and then tunnels, giving Alistar just enough time to move closer to the team instead of making a clean pick. After kiting back, Rek'Sai falls and Elise flash cocoons onto Ezreal, but Kench eats Ez right away as his arcane shift goes off and runs to safety. Next, Nard comes to ult Syndra and Kench, but a stellar cosmic binding into the destroyed turret saves them, and gives Syndra just enough time to land a 3-man scatter to CC the tanks away from the retreating TSM. At this point, blue-build Ezreal kicks in and starts to barrage Team Liquid with Mystic shots. In a final attempt to turn and clutch the fight, Orianna turns and misses a 3-man shockwave on Syndra by just half a Teemo. Nard couldn't chain it into his ult and had to flash away. After this, it's easy cleanup killing for blue build Ezreal, and then he pushes to win with the remaining members of TSM. The season is young, and it was only week 1, but each player has the potential to be much better than they are now. Holistically, it seems they were slow about their turret rotations, and in neither game prioritized their bot lane turrets. You can see in Game 1 versus CLG that had a large reason to do with them losing, since they couldn't handle the late game pressure. For Team Liquid, it happened to work that they didn't get a chance to push past the T2 due to Dragon and Baron pressure, but that's not really a healthy habit to adopt with a 50% win rate with that strategy. On top of this, TSM needs to get their drafting strategy together. Again, I'll emphasize the importance of Lulu. Beard may not enjoy playing a supportive role, but that's why they picked up Doublelift, to have another carry threat on the team. Individually, the players played decently well. It's clear Hanser and Sven are the most rookie of the team and should tighten up on some of their role mechanics. For instance, TP usage in 1v1 laning, while Sven can work more on early game pressure instead of hard farming as much. More aggressive warding in the mid game is also good, though some of that was fixed in game 2. This said, Hanser seems to play a dirty Tom Kench, and that's exactly what a team of 2 hyper carries needs, a tanky top laner that can peel very well for his carries. As for the more seasoned members, Doublelift got caught a few times in Game 2, in particular in bot lane by Elise in the clip that I showed, and again at 16-17 in top by himself. Beard played fantastically with very minor positional errors in teamfights that caused him to blow summoners unnecessarily, 27-07 in Game 2 and during the second last teamfight of Game 1. Finally, Yellowstar is a passive player and a shot caller through and through. If he keeps working at engaging, he'll become stellar at it. I suggest devoting to Bard, who is stupidly strong in this meta, and I think is the perfect pick for someone like him. To wrap up, despite the performance in Week 1, I think TSM has the potential to be the strongest TSM yet. With Hanser's mind to meld to his team's needs, 2 hyper carries, and a veteran shot caller, I think they have what it takes to be one of the best teams in NA once they've built up some synergy. Hi guys, thanks so much for watching. I'm really sorry for the horrendous clip quality. I'm really sorry for the keyboard noises and the breathing that you hear through the mic when I'm beginning sentences. I'm still trying to work all of this out. This is my first time ever making a video. Anyway, I really hope that you found my analysis on point, and if any of you happen to have VODs that you would like me to look at, I would love to. Yeah, I just really enjoy doing this kind of stuff. I'm hoping to do 2 of these videos every week. I'm going to do a featured team of the week. It happened to be TSM, and I'm going to do an ongoing series for Renegades and watch them try to develop over the LCS. Questions, comments, concerns, you can email me, add me in game, flame me on Reddit, flame me on YouTube, all of the above. Yeah, anyway, once again, hope you enjoyed my analysis, and yeah, have a good one, guys.